Chances are not everything in your life is perfect. Today I'm joined by my friend Temple that recently got divorced, a single mom of 2 young boys, and hadn't worked in 15 years. She started cleaning houses to try to put food on the table and was only making about $150 a day. She started flipping houses part-time and netted over 6 figures her first year. In her own words, she's going to tell you how she did it.
So my name's Temple Toms. I'm from outside of Charlottesville. I'm in a small town called Greenville, Virginia. I have 2 kids, Tucker and August. Right before I met you, I was just getting ready to finalize my divorce. And I reached out to a mutual friend of ours who's your life coach, and just kind of gave him like the basics on where I was in life. I had been with the same guy for 15 years, kind of lived off of the business that he built while we were together and stayed home, raised kids. And at the end of our divorce, it's pretty devastating, and I was kind of at a crossroads on what I was going to do with my future. And so after we settled out, I had a little bit of money, and I was just kind of praying and talking to Chuck about what my next move should be. And he had mentioned Ryan, which it was kind of crazy. It kind of felt like it was kind of God ordained in a sense, because everything just kind of flowed so perfectly. My granddad was a massive commercial real estate agent, and he had kind of mentored Chuck a little bit. And then my ex-husband, was in construction, and we had done a couple flip houses. My dad is a contractor. And so when I talked to Chuck and he got me with Ryan, we kind of discussed, that angle, and it all just seemed like it was the right angle for me. I don't feel like there's any coincidences in life, and I feel like everything just lined up exactly how it was supposed to, and it's been relatively smooth.
As smooth as real estate can be.
Yeah, especially with the market, how it ebbs and flows and that kind of thing, and I'm learning every day. That's one reason why I'm grateful that you guys have given me the opportunity, being that I'm kind of a beginner in a sense. A lot more people have been in this business for a lot longer. I've been on the outsides of this business, but, I really wanted to make a name for myself, for my kids, and, no longer be in the shadows, but come out and build something to make my kids proud.
You've done a really good job, I think, of that. I think you found yourself in a spot a lot of folks find themselves in of, I kind of had this plan of how life would go, and it hasn't gone that way. And if we're going to do something different, what should that something be, right? You've got 2 projects that have been completed, and you've got 2 more in the works. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
One just compliment I've got, you do a great job on the design and the staging side. On your first one, what did you make on that?
Let's see. So I bought it at 155. I listed it at 255, and I put about 40,000 into it. After fees and everything, I think I made about 45 or 50 off of that one. I just wrote it down in my notes because it's just to remember. And I bought it in October, the beginning of October, and I sold it in December. So I only had it for a short amount of time. So that's when I really kind of got hooked. I was like, man,
this works.
Yeah, it does work. But as you go, you learn. It's all a learning process, but it's really fun. And I really feel like with real estate, my granddad always told me that, you can't go wrong with real estate because there's only so much land. There's only so many properties.
So you did a way better job on your first one than I did. My first one, I paid somebody $7,500 at closing to get them to buy it from me. So making 35 plus on the first one's pretty stellar. What all work did you do to that project?
So we painted it. We updated all the flooring, updated the vanities, new light fixtures, painted the kitchen cabinets, nice like quartz countertops. Got to keep all the old appliances, which was really nice. And the house was in decent shape. I did a bunch of landscaping work myself. And one plus thing was his building was full of all kinds of stuff, and he ended up just leaving it. So, I got a lot of goodies out of the building. So that was nice.
Hey, Mitch's dad, I think he calls it like Hooting. It's like one of his favorite parts of like
Yeah.
what they leave behind, just like anything good.
Yeah.
And he'll actually work with a like antique shop, and anything that like looks decent that he doesn't want, he'll sell to them. And it's just like a little side hustle on the stuff that people don't want that you can do something with versus trashing it. So that's funny.
Yeah, I did that with, I've just put some stuff on Marketplace. Like he left his kitchen table. I mean, I got all kinds of hunting stuff, fishing stuff, lawnmower. And it just so happened that like the lawnmower had went out, our push mower. And so I got a free push mower. And those are the things that make me feel like, you know,
There you go. God provides.
yeah, it's like it was there. But yeah, that one was really lucky. And then the second one was the duplex, and we came out pretty good on that one. That one was crazy. The inside of that, which is really fun about doing flip houses, is because you just never know what you're gonna find, and you find some crazy things. But yeah, I mean, that one took a little bit longer, but we still came out all right. I think we made like 70,000 off of it. Yeah, so I guess I am at the 100. Dumb. But yeah, so and then my most recent buy is in Rafine, and I kind of bought it on like a whim, and I was really open with the lady about what I thought it was worth, what I could pay for it, and she ended up accepting my offer. I ended up getting it for 40,000, and I've had it for about a month and a half, and I decided just to do like little basic things. Like the foundation was a little raggedy, so I got a guy to come in and fix the foundation a little bit and put it back on the market. I'm in at about 3,000 is what I've spent so far, and I just went under contract yesterday for 68.
Sweet.
So it's not going to close till November, but that's when I really, I was kind of just in the process of trying. I just wanted to kind of change hands with that one and find one that I, really
That's
wanna,
your first wholesale attempt, right?
Yeah, wholetail.
So into it for 43, selling it for 68. There's some margin there. Not,
20K.
yeah, can't be upset about that.
No, and that's what I thought whenever she agreed to my offer, because I told her, I was like, you can probably list this thing for 70,000, as it sets, and it's listed now at 75. And so, and she's like, I don't want to go that route. I'd rather just, give you the cash and let's shake hands and move on. And so that's what we did, and put it back on the market, spent 3. So I'm really still at that like 70K. But yeah, I mean, it's November can't come soon enough. And then on to the next,
You make a good point though. So on the wholetails, typically we are going to list them a little higher than we expect to sell them at. And
Right.
that's one of the things we even tell our sellers, like, hey, I think this realistically sells around 70. I'm probably going to list it higher. I just had one of these in St. Louis, and it's one of those unfortunate things of like great house, just bad neighborhood. So fixed up, it's only worth like 130. And I
Right.
was like, if this was in any other neighborhood, this is a 250, $300,000 house. And the problem with it is everything's old. So it's like you could move in today, you could turn around and rent it today, but in order to make it like retail, it's like a $55,000 remodel. So I was telling her, I was like, you might be able to throw this on market and sell it in the 70s, 80s, even 90s. I just don't know because this kind of stuff doesn't sell very often. Cash though, like my offer's super low. I'm coming in like the low 30s because if I'm going to put almost 60 into it, I've got to be able to turn a profit on it. And
Right.
my recommendation was the same of like, I would maybe list it in the 70s or 80s. And if it sells in that range, you're going to walk with somewhere high 60s. That doesn't feel terrible. But I think
Right.
that's a good, just actionable thing for people watching this. If you think it's going to sell for X on the wholesale side, just go a couple grand higher.
Yeah, that's we actually started at 80, listed it at 80, and then it was on there for a month. We dropped it down to 75, and then but it's weird because a lot of people were coming to it thinking that it was going to be like a house they could get a loan on, but it didn't have a heat source. And so I really felt like if I was going to go in and really do the heat source, update the electric, then I might as well just do
Do
the
the whole
whole.
thing.
I was going to give it a little more time. If it didn't go under contract by like December, I was going to get in there and do the work. But thankfully, it's under contract now. So
What has it felt like for you being a recently single mom of 2 young boys? Going literally all in, betting on yourself that you can pull this off and ripping over 100 grand, beating your goal year one. What's that feel like?
I mean, it feels great. I mean, it still feels a little shocking in a sense. But yeah, I mean, it feels really good. And I want to keep building on that. You know, I feel like if I get too like, I'm excited for the future. My goals are bigger and better, you know, for next year and for the year after and the year after. $100,000 was my goal and I met it. And that's just kind of like the foundation of building. So now we're at the basic level and now we're going to just keep moving up. It does. It feels really good. And for my kids, it feels nice to be able to, you know, not feel like I'm struggling I mean, you know, when I was married, everything was taken care of, but there was a year amount of time where I wasn't getting any kind of money. So I was cleaning houses. So everything was really tight, like as far as being able to do this or do that or having to ask dad for some money, you know, because before we settled. And it's been really nice to have my own money to be able to be like, you know, hey, we're going to do this. Like I just bought a work truck for $2,000, which is cheap. But for me, I've never like on my own paid for any kind of vehicle. Everything's, you know, I was a stay-at-home mom. So it's an empowering feeling to be able to provide for my kids and do the things that I said I was going to do.
How many houses do you think you'd have to clean to make over 100 grand?
Oh gosh, a lot. Let's see, we make like 150 per house. So
Like 80.
add all that up. But plus you're there, I'm there all day. And so with this, you know, you a lot times where you're busy doing work and then making time for everything. I don't know. It's been really nice, honestly.
I'm doing the math for us because I know it's not 80. That was terrible homeschool math on my part. That's just 667 houses.
Yeah.
Versus 3 or 4 deals. I will tell you from my standpoint, I do think it's cool because I think there are a lot of people that like, you might even have people that watch this that are like, oh, so you just like got some money from your ex and that was just like but like, no, you did something with it, which I think is super cool.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is you can't, the amount of money that he was making, and you know, we lived in an $800,000 house that we had rehabbed. The amount of money that I got in comparison to the amount of time that I invested, you know, I took it, and instead of just running with it or whatever, I went all in on SoldFast, and I decided like, you know, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to invest it and do something. I didn't stay scared. I kind of, I don't know. I went all in.
I mean, you bet on yourself and it paid off. So
Yeah.
on that second one you bought it for 117. You sold it for 275 after a pretty large remodel. What all did you do on the remodel?
Everything. The house was crazy, disgusting. It almost like a murder took place in there. I found a bed that was completely soaked in blood all the way down through the bed into the rafters. Like under the basement, you could see it in the rafters, blood. Like there's no way someone just like cut their toe. Like someone bled out in that bed. No joke. So we found rats and, I mean, it was piled high on the floor. We filled up a massive dump truck load of stuff. They just like, apparently the people like up and left in the middle of the night. I had to evict them, both tenants. I tried the cash for keys thing where you offer them cash to get out. They wouldn't respond to me. Went to court, ended up getting, I'm trying to think of when I bought the house. I think I bought it in like October. I think I bought it on Halloween, and I didn't get possession of it until December. Pretty much redid all of it. I had to put a new wall in to separate the duplexes. The way they were set up, it was almost like you walked into someone else's apartment when you walked in the front door. It was a really odd setup. So put all new flooring, paint, new light fixtures. I got in there and we ended up having to replace all of the wiring. It was all knob and tube. It had an updated panel, but the wiring was a knob and tube. So that was an unforeseen cost that I didn't think I was going to have to spend. But luckily the guy that I date is an electrician, so he came and did it for me at cost. So, which was really nice. But yeah, every house you do, I feel like you learn things each time. Okay, so now I know for sure I'm going to make sure it doesn't have knob and tube wiring. Or if it does, I'm going to have to expect that in the cost, at the end. Little things like, I know in this one we had, at one point, right before we were getting ready to list it, the condensate pump fell over in the attic for the AC, and the ceiling was leaking. And we thought it was because of the rainstorm. So now I know, like, to make sure the condensate pumps, there's a drain there, and, little things that you learn as you're there, to make it more cost effective. We did some foundation work. I bought a paint sprayer, and we painted the outside ourselves. And so we repainted the outside. New paint, new fixtures. What else? Yeah, all new vanities.
Did you do new bathrooms?
I got new tubs and everything in the downstairs bathroom, but the upstairs bathroom we remodeled. The way it was set up, it was really odd. Like, there was a wall in front of the window where they built in the shower. So we ripped that out and like really designed it better and put like a little corner shower, which is really cool because it had like black trim. And my next house, I really want to find a cool place to do like the bronze accents, like the new brass. I think that's really in like the whole boho style. I love that. Yeah, all new interior doors because they were all tore up. They're all really old. We only had to replace a couple windows. One of the windows, I was cleaning it and it fell down on my head and it busted glass everywhere and could have probably killed me. It should have been tempered, but I guess it wasn't tempered. So I had to replace that window, and we replaced just a few windows. But yeah. So it was fun.
Awesome. What advice would you give somebody else that was in your position before you joined SoldFast, or somebody who's thinking about joining SoldFast? What honest feedback do you have for them?
I mean, I would say go for it. I guess I was fortunate enough to have a lot of people in my corner. But I feel like if you're, a single parent that wants to real estate, I don't know, you're real estate savvy or have connections in the real estate or construction world, to, go for it. Join. It's a whole community of people that are there to help you and teach you things. And everybody's constantly posting and talking about different ways where they messed up here or they messed up here, and ways to help you in the future to not make the same mistakes that they have. And mastermind groups in general. Like, I just feel like when you are in a group of people that feel the same way that you do, that are really trying to build something, and y'all all have the same passion, I feel like nothing's impossible. Just yeah. So I would encourage people to. It's really nice, like having someone to help you do all of your advertisement and in the background, and the way the CRM set up to help you give that price that you wouldn't know if that's the right price. Like being able to put it in a system that tells you, hey, this is what you should offer because we're going to, this is your safest bet. And so like without having the knowledge and being able to use a system like that is super helpful.
What are some of like the practical ways you found SoldFast to be helpful for you?
Like for that, like, I know like being able to post pictures and stuff and people telling you like, oh, this is something that's wrong. You should probably check on this. Or people have contracts and you're trying to give them an offer, how to tell whether their contract that they got is a wholesaler's contract, and how to explain things to people when I don't really have a whole lot of understanding of that world. It's just being involved in that community just is super beneficial because, I can look up like, even with the Ivory Homes thing and the paint colors, and I have a little bit of that look myself, but reassuring that by looking at these people that do big business and like, oh hey, well they're using the same things that I would use, so yeah, let's definitely go with that. Like just the whole community aspect of it, and the not having to worry about how I'm going to get deals, or even worrying about having to answer the call, knowing that someone's on the other side, answering those calls, figuring out, qualifying people. And, it's awesome. Like if you're a single mom and raising kids, you don't always have all the time, to do those things. And so that's been super helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're you were a little bit more unique and honestly a little bit more intimidating to work with because you came to me through Chuck. So, Chuck Balsamo is how Temple and I met. I've worked with Chuck on and off since I think I was like 20 years old. And Chuck called me and was like, "Hey, I've got this gal that like grew up at my church. I think she's got a unique setup to start flipping houses, and I want you to talk to her." And internally, I was like, really can't mess this one up. Like having come from Chuck, got to make sure it's a good fit. We deliver for you and all that. So I love that not only did you hit your annual goal year one, but you exceeded it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's no pressure with Chuck. Chuck's just he's like a family. He's like a uncle to me. So it's not like, and he's such a goober. I love Chuck. He's great, but he's definitely inspiring. And he, and that kind of gave me some courage because, had I just came upon SoldFast, I probably would have thought, oh, that's not real. That's probably just a scam. You know what I mean? But being involved with Chuck and knowing the type of person that Chuck is and knowing that he has my best interest at heart, when he led me on to you, I knew that it was something real. He's not going to lead you in a direction that he's afraid that you're not going to succeed. And so I knew that if Chuck was leading me in this direction and that, it was going to be worth it. I really felt that way. And so it's worked out, and I'm very grateful and thankful. And I know like a lot of people that are in SoldFast have been doing the flip business for a long time, and they kind of already set up everything. And me just coming in like a newbie is a little intimidating at first, but I'm learning, and it's kind of nice to have that group, like I said, of people that are smarter than I am, because if you're the smartest person in the room, you're never going to learn. And so I like to be around smarter people because I listen and I pay attention. And
yeah, I try to be the dumb guy in the room. If I'm the smart guy, I might not be in the right room. So
right? I'm always, Mitch is the smart guy in the room.
That's fair. Yeah, I would agree with that.
He's the smart one. And even Chuck was talking about Mitch. He's like, they're grouping up together. He's like, I've met Mitch a couple of times, and he's the most intelligent guy I've ever met. Like, Chuck, he's so like...
Yeah. Passionate about everything.
He is. He's very passionate about everything. And he's like, I really feel like what they're going to do if you get on that, la, la, la. I'm like, all right, Chuck, let's go for it. And so, that's what we did. So, and I'm glad that you guys took a chance on me because, I know starting out when you were first starting, you had a small group and I was glad to be part of that small group. But I know other people were already super successful. So for you guys to take a chance on me, meant a lot too.
Yeah, no, we'd do it again.
Yeah.
For anybody that's watching this that maybe ends up with a deal in your market or wants to reach out with questions, what's the best way for somebody to reach you?
Reach out to me at temple@soldfast.com.
I want to thank you for taking the time to hang out with Temple and myself today. Hopefully you found today's video inspiring. If you're wanting to find your own deals like Temple, or maybe even join us in SoldFast, running a totally free training October 2nd at 6 p.m. CST, simply scan the QR code. I'd love to see you there. If I can do this and Temple can do it, so can you. I'm a firm believer there are way dumber people than those of us on this video right now succeeding in this space. There's no reason that you can't blaze a trail of your own. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. Again, my name is Ryan Dossey. We'll talk to you guys next time.